Hello, hello. Let's get started. Relationships on fire. Let's see. Today is all about fuel. A fire needs fuel. Your relationship needs fuel. If you want change, you need fuel. Last time we talked about the foundation of change. There's a three-part component to it. And today is all about the fuel to get that tool moving. I related it to our spouses. They have this big tool in the way of like their fire truck or maybe their EMT wagon or whatever it is that they drive. Most of all of them drive out to go somewhere. It houses all of their tool, but they got to get their tool to the place that needs help, that needs the work, that needs something. And so they need some fuel to get it there. And same is true for us and our relationships. If we want to use the foundation of change to bring change in our relationships, we need some fuel. So that's what we're going to talk about today is what is the fuel that you need to get this relationship where you want it to be, to feel that love and connection and say goodbye to that resentment, right? Create this relationship that just is the way you want it to be, the way you know behind the curtain is as great as those Instagram pictures or whatever it is, right? We have these beautiful families, beautiful human beings that we get to be in relationship with. But sometimes it is not quite as satisfying or quite where we think or know it should be. So we need this fuel to change these relationships the way we want to see them. So we're going to talk about that today, about what that fuel is. And then we'll spend some time exploring this idea, exploring the fuel that you need. And then, as always, you're going to take an action step. Listening to the podcast, this is an action step. You are a changed human being by doing this. This is your action you are in right now. You have decided, I want to prioritize and love my relationship. I am going to be here and show up for myself and my relationship. By the time we get through with this, you will not be the same person, as you will have new insights and new information to go out and to get into action with. So every time after every episode is getting into action. By the way, if you haven't gone over to our website yet, relationshipsonfire.com, if you haven't gone over there yet, then you will not know that there's a great free step there. There's a great free action step there. I have a mini course that is set up there for you to get more out of your next date, to rekindle your relationship on that next date. So that could be your next step after this podcast is done, is to grab that resource over there. All right, let's get going here. What is the fuel? It's not gasoline or diesel like those big trucks use, but what is going to get this foundation of change moving? Here it is. The fuel that you need to change anything, to do anything in your life is feelings, our feelings. The way you feel drives every action or inaction that you do in your life. For everybody, you feel like going to the gym today. You don't feel like getting up at 5 a.m., right? Your feelings fuel everything that you do. So looking back, where last time we talked about the mistake that people oftentimes make when they want to see change in their life is they just look at the action step and doing the action steps. And it becomes impossible to do those action steps after a while because you don't feel like it. You're wanting to stick with what's comfortable or what's easy, even if it's uncomfortable and unpleasant, right? It's the normal human condition to go with feelings that are familiar to us. So if you're wanting to make new actions, we need to pair it up with the fuel of the feeling to drive those actions. That's what gets the flywheel of change, our change, that delta symbol, the triangle. We want to see that moving around, going through the 3 points: the get ready, the get set, and the go. Go check out the previous episode to get a little bit more on each of those sections. The fuel to move our change is how we feel. So when we're starting out this process of using our foundation of change to really develop and change our relationships the way we want them, we have to start out with seeing, well, how do I feel? What do I feel right now? Not what did I feel before, or what do I think I'm going to feel in the future, but start to understand what you feel right now. Now, this might seem awful touchy-feely, but I assure you, it is the game changer. This is what's going to change everything in your life. We need to know what is fueling us. And are we putting gasoline into a diesel engine or vice versa? Is the fuel that you have going on right now the right fuel you need for your relationship? Now, let's not go into the judgmental fuel. I'll tell you right away, that is putting gasoline in a diesel engine or putting water in the hose line or something like that. Can't go down that comparison road too much. I don't know a lot about how engines work, but I think putting water down that pipe is going to be a really bad idea. The feeling of judgment is a feeling that will keep you stuck. That's an action that just brings about a feeling that holds us stuck. So we want to be really gentle and curious and let yourself start exactly where you are with feelings. It might be as simple as I feel good or I feel bad. I feel happy, I feel sad, I feel neutral, I feel excited, I feel numb. Whatever these words are, we want to just start seeing throughout your day, throughout your relationship, how do you feel? From a place of curiosity, not a place to try and fix it or change it or make it wrong, but just let yourself very gently see, what do I feel? Be curious about it and open with yourself throughout your day. When you're thinking about your partner, when you're actually face to face with your partner, when you're laying in bed next to your partner, when you're laying in bed and your partner's in some other bed, right? They're at the station and they're not there. How do you feel during all these different times? Now, going back to our first one about relationships, what really are relationships made of? They're made of our thoughts. So depending on how you're thinking about your particular circumstance in the moment is going to change how you feel. Our thoughts really create how we feel, and our feelings fuel what we do and what we don't do in the world. When I really started paying attention to this and really started putting this into practice and thinking about, what do I really want to have more of in my relationship? I want to have more sense of love. This is one of the feelings. I wanted to have more sense of love. So when I was talking or with my spouse, I started first noticing, what is it that I am feeling when I'm talking to my spouse at different times? Am I feeling love or am I feeling something else? I'm feeling anger. I'm feeling resentment. I'm feeling worry. I'm feeling urgent. right? Different ways that I might be showing up when I'm having a conversation. This is how I am feeling. So I spent time and got curious and saw, how could I feel love when I'm having a conversation with my spouse? Generating a sense of love. Sometimes it was in a conversation, or sometimes just spending time actually while they're over at the station, thinking about them and feeling love towards them, generating a sense of love for myself. Because let me tell you, having a sense of feeling love towards my partner feels better for me. No matter what's happening between us, when I can come back and touch base to this very central foundational feeling that I want to have in my relationship, simply by noticing it and being with that feeling, I get to have more love in my relationship. When I started doing that, my relationship is now more fueled with love. My actions towards myself, towards my spouse, towards our relationship is different when I was able to fuel it with love. Back to the first note about getting curious about feelings. If you're not feeling love with your spouse, with your relationship, with yourself right now, that's okay. I want you just to really be honest with where you are right now. You might wish and hope or think you should be somewhere else, but you're not. That's okay. In order to make a change, we have to start with exactly where you are, right? Get ready. Just being curious about, what do I feel? Maybe make a note of it during the day. Here's an action step for you, right? To write it down a couple of times a day, of just make a little jot, just starting to pay attention. What is it that I feel right now? Positive or negative? I feel happy or sad? You can keep it as basic as you want to start with, to just start to understand and pay attention to, how are you fueling your relationship? Then we can dive more into, in the future, of fueling it on purpose, right? But for this step, for this time, for right now, with a whole abundance and love and generosity for yourself, just be curious about this fuel that you are putting into your relationship. It's happening if you're paying attention to it or not. Everything, like I said in the beginning, everything we do is based on how we feel. I feel like doing this. I don't feel like doing that. It feels good to eat chips and salsa sitting on my couch, binge watching something on Netflix, right? I do that because it feels good in the moment. Does it feel good later? Not necessarily, but it feels good in the moment. So that's why I'm doing it. If I don't want to be doing that, I have to generate a different kind of feeling. But right now, it's just about being in curiosity and taking that 10,000-foot view for yourself to see, how am I fueling my relationship? How am I fueling my thoughts for myself? How do I feel about myself, my spouse, our interactions, our lack of interactions, whatever it may be? Make a note of it. Just love yourself in it and be curious. In future episodes, we'll do a deeper dive into understanding different feelings, because the more we can understand our feelings, the more we can start to create them on purpose, the more we can actually use them to drive the things that we want in our life. Be curious with yourself. You are an amazing human being in a beautiful relationship. Be committed. Be present and show up with curiosity and love for yourself and for your spouse. You've got this. Thanks so much for listening. Make sure you subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you can get every episode. And when you are ready to be in action, come find us. Facebook, Instagram, or our website. It's all the same name, relationshipsonfire.com. We've got that S on there. There's lots of us having relationships. So relationships with an S on fire.com. Thanks so much. Saying goodbye, your fire and water gal, Corey Micah. See you next time.